What's up guys, welcome back to Techie, and if you're planning to get a new Mac or already have one, then this video is for you. Here I'll show you the entire setup process in detail, and if you're switching from Windows, then I'll show you some basic tips and tricks that helps a first time Mac user get started. So feel free to skip to that part if you're already set up your Mac. Let's go. So the first time you open or power on your Mac, you are going to be greeted by hello in many different languages, as you can see. From here, click anywhere to get started. So I will just click here and it asks me to select my language. So I'll choose it quickly. Select your country. So I'll pick up India. It's kind of slow due to poor connection of Wi-Fi. Hit continue. Now guys, this is a very good accessibility feature and it's called voice over quick start, where it will speak up everything on the screen and the entire computer can be controlled via keyboard. It's a 13 panel setup, so I'm just gonna skip that for now, but if you need it, you can hit continue or set up later in the setting. Okay, so we are back on this setup page. You get a lot more accessibility features here. So the first is vision voiceover, which is the same thing that we just skipped. The second is zoom. If you are having any vision issues, then at any time you can hold down the control key and swipe up on the trackpad to zoom anything you want on the screen. Great. Next is speak selection. Again, the selected text can be spoken. There are also 4 pointer sizes to choose from, whichever suits your taste. I think I will go with the second one. Now in the newer versions of Mac, everything is kind of transparent, so if you don't like that, you can reduce it from here to get more of an opaque look to the system. You can also increase or decrease the contrast if you want. Select light or dark mode just like your iPhone. I'll keep it to auto. You can also reduce the motion of all the elements if you feel dizzy or something. You can reduce it from here just like in the iPhone. So you know, if you are already using an iPhone, all these things will be very familiar to you, or you will learn new things if you didn't knew all this. Next is motor. Here you can turn on the on-screen keyboard if you don't want to use the physical keyboard. Next is hearing. In this you can turn on captions for all your media things like music, movies and TV shows. We have flash for alerts as well. You can make the screen flash if you get any notifications. It looks something like this. Finally, cognitive is a repetition of what we did earlier, like voice feedback and zooming your display. After you continue, you get to data and privacy. Just hit continue on that and you will reach a very important step, which is called migration assistant. From here you can transfer your data from your older Mac or a PC, and for a Mac it also supports the time machine backup or a startup disk. But I don't have any data that I want to transfer right now, so I will just skip it. Now sign in with your Apple ID. You can also skip it, but I would recommend you to do that if you want the benefits of the Apple ecosystem and also to download apps and services from the Mac store. You can also create a new Apple ID if you want. So I have just entered my ID and I get a verification code on my iPhone. Agree to all the iCloud terms and you are signed in. Now you will need to create a computer account to lock and unlock your Mac. So we have done that too, and it is setting up the iCloud account on the Mac. You can also turn on the Find My app, with which you can locate, play sounds and even remotely erase it with any other devices with the same Apple ID. So hit continue, and these are all the settings that are currently set on my iPhone. I can either change it for this Mac or keep it the same just like my iPhone. That's the beauty of the Apple ecosystem. I will keep everything same and hit continue. You also get this firewall disk encryption to encrypt all the data on your disk and protect it with a passcode. Again, highly recommended to turn it on and continue. Finally, there is an option to set up Touch ID to unlock and authenticate your purchases. It's really easy to set up, and if you have used an iPhone with Touch ID, you know Touch ID is 100 times better than Face ID. So glad to have it on my MacBook. So after that, you go straight onto the home screen, ending the setup process. So that is how you start up your Mac for the very first time, but there are a few more things that you should know before you start using it. Now if you are using a mouse, wired or wireless, go into settings or system preferences, then select mouse, and in this menu just uncheck the natural scrolling option. If you keep it checked, it's gonna scroll in reverse direction. That means if you scroll down, it will scroll up, and if you scroll up, it will go down. So uncheck it straight away. Other thing is you can completely customize this dock and what apps show here. So for any app you can just right click on it and either keep or remove from the dock. You can also choose open at login, so if you have some specific workflows, then this will open the app every time you start your Mac. One more thing that you might see missing from Windows is the Windows key, with which you can search whatever you want in the system. So in the Mac, you need to use these two side-by-side buttons called Command and Spacebar to bring up the universal spotlight search feature from anywhere, or just use the F4 key on the top. Using Siri on the Mac is very easy. It's just located after that F4 key, so just hold down the F5 key and Siri will pop up from anywhere. This is a significant advantage over Windows, which has Cortana, which is rarely used. And if you use an iPhone with the same Apple ID and iCloud enabled, you can just ask Siri to call anyone in your contact list. You can also receive calls on your Mac. It's a great experience. While you are typing anything and you want emojis on Windows, we have Windows plus dot shortcut to bring up the emojis, but here you can just press the FN key on the bottom left to bring up the emojis. Now if you are slightly advanced Windows user and you do a lot of switching between the apps and desktops, on Windows you press Alt plus Tab to view all your running apps. In the Mac you will use Command plus Tab, and to switch between tabs in browser, it's the same shortcuts called Control plus Tab. But what about switching desktops? Well, you can just hit the Control and up arrow key for bird's eye view on all your running apps and desktops, or to add a new desktop, or just swipe with 3 fingers up and down on the trackpad to get this same view. Once you add a new desktop, you can just glide between your desktops with Control plus right or left arrow keys. You can also change some shortcuts and settings and put your own shortcuts by going in System Preferences and selecting Mission Control. Additionally, just swiping with 3 fingers horizontally left and right will switch desktops for you, which is super convenient. To lock your Mac, you will have to press Ctrl plus Command plus Q, which is a pain against just using Windows plus L key. Just close your laptop and it will lock your laptop anyways. So these are some basic things to get started with the Mac. So guys, that's the entire setup process and basic tips and tricks to help you get started with the Mac. It's very difficult to switch from an OS that you have been using from the very beginning, but if you have decided to do so, it's not as difficult as you think. You will get used to Mac OS even if you have never used it before. So if you have any questions or concerns regarding Mac OS, then let me know in the comment section below and I will try and answer your queries. So that wraps up the video guys. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you very soon.